Hey, what's happening? Thanks for hanging out with us on a Wednesday afternoon. David Coleman along with Robert Webb. It's called the Balck Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. If you'd like to contact us and get in touch with us, you can call me up at 855-525-5683. That's how you get in touch with me and my good buddy. Yeah, I do know I was a rapper, didn't you? Got a lot of stuff to talk about today, of course. Today is Nat Turner's birthday, so you know that's going to be part of the Black Facts. And then, of course, I'm going to play a video about the post-traumatic slave syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGruy. I think you will like that as well. And let me go ahead and tell you that we are still monitoring the Amber Guyger trial. We talked a lot about that this morning. A lot of people are posting happy birthday notes to Nat Turner about Nat Turner this morning, and that's good. But we will be monitoring that. They are still in the sentencing phase, the testimonial phase from family and friends of Botham Jean. So hopefully that will be done. And if we get some late breaking news about the verdict as far as how much time she will get, we will certainly break in and carry it from WFAA live out of Dallas, Texas. So certainly we'll keep our eye on that because this is really a groundbreaking trial. Okay, 855-525-5683 is the number. Let me just read the T's to you. Happy birthday, Nat Turner. And by the way, why was the black police woman consoling Guyger's hair after the verdict? Did y'all see that? I'm talking about that. Because did we just see live and in living color the mammy syndrome kick in? I'm just asking. And it's pretty clear PLOTUS is a mental barbarian. Did he really want to use immigrants as gator bait? Where have we heard that before? So that's what's on the agenda today. But before we get started, let's go ahead and jump into our Black Facts. Hey, Jackie, how you doing? Well, one of my Black Facts is about Nat Turner. Of course, you all know about our man Nat, right? Okay. The man known as Nat Turner was born exactly 215 years ago on October 2nd, 1800 in Southampton County, Virginia. Although history books refer to his intelligent and literate individual as Nat Turner, he, his family and friends and followers never referred to him that way because he refused to acknowledge ownership by Samuel Turner, the man who had purchased him as a child. He refused because he knew in his heart and soul he was African, who could never be owned. Turner's enslaved father had escaped when Nat was very young, and his father's mother at age 13, had been captured in Ghana and was shipped to America. She was a member of the Akan ethnic group, in particular the Coromantee, which was notoriously rebellious against European and American enslavement, so much so that a proposed law was introduced in 1765 to ban their importation into the colonies because they were not docile enough. However, it never became law because their physical strength made them potentially excellent laborers. Although he came from a bloodline that advocated warfare and self-defense, he was profoundly religious. In fact, he wrote that he studiously avoided mixing in society by devoting his time to fasting and praying. His love for Christianity led him to become a pastor, later known as the prophet. Following his escape from slavery in 1821, he returned to the plantation a month afterward because, as he pointed out, the Holy Spirit in a vision told him to. 4 years later, he had another vision, this time while in the field working, where he has reported he saw drops of blood on corn as though it were dew from heaven. And I communicated it to many, both black and white. In 1828, he had a third vision, and it was in this one in which, as he perfectly recalled, the Spirit said the serpent was loosened, and Christ stated, I should fight against the serpent and should slay my enemies with my own weapons. 2 years thereafter, he was transported to the home of Joseph Travis, who was the new husband of the widow Thomas Moore, the man who had purchased Nat Turner after Samuel Turner's death. In 1831, he received a fourth sign, and this was in the form of a solar eclipse that directed him to strike a serious blow against the serpent's slavery. As a result, he informed 4 compatriots, and together they planned the attack on July 4th. But his illness caused it to be rescheduled. His final sign came on October 13th as another solar eclipse. It was then, on the date of October 21st, 1831 was set, and it was at 2 a.m. on that date that the 5'8", 160-pound, broad-shouldered, slightly goateed, large-eyed Nat and his expanded cadre of 6 men began their mission, stopping first at the home of slave-owning Travis family, where each of the occupants were executed. It was during the October 22nd midday march toward Jerusalem, Virginia, that a militia and then federal troops moved in on Nat and his soldiers, but Nat and some others escaped, with Nat evading capture for more than 2 months before being tracked down on October 30th. Less than a week later, on November 5th, he was tried and found guilty and sentenced to death. And on October 11th, he was hanged, skinned, beheaded, quartered. His body parts were dispensed as souvenirs. Nat and his army, a group that had grown to approximately 70 blacks, included about 40 enslaved and 30 free, with nearly 300 blacks suspected of having provided direct or indirect assistance. Ultimately killed 55 whites, but spared many others. Despite Nat's death, he was victorious in putting the fear of God in slave owners throughout the country. Those who say Nat Turner overreacted must ask, what was the alternative? He couldn't sue for freedom because blacks had no legal standing in court. He couldn't go on strike because state legislatures enacted laws across the country like the 1705 Virginia law, claiming that if any slave resists his master and is beaten by his master and shall happen to be killed, the master shall be free of all punishment. Court decisions were just as bad. In North Carolina versus Mann, for example, the state Supreme Court in 1830 ruled slave masters have absolute authority over slaves and could not be found guilty of any crime committed against them. More than 150 years of scattered racist legislation and court decisions were made uniform in 1857 when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in Dred Scott versus Sanford that blacks have no rights, which the white man was bound to respect. Nat Turner did what he had to do by any means necessary. That's why I say, happy birthday, Nat. Woo! Can I get a finger clap offering?
You just feeling too good today, bro.
Hey Robert, how you doing, man? I had to do
I'm
that.
up in this piece. That's all I can say today, bro.
I have one more. It's about 6 minutes, but it's not me. It's actually Dr. Joy DeGruy, and it's about the post-traumatic slave syndrome. And the reason I want to play that because we are in that time period. We as black people are suffering from the post-traumatic slave syndrome. So if you've never heard of this, and we've talked about Dr. DeGruy a lot on this show, I just want you to hear this because it's time for us to wake up. I'm just saying. So here's more Black Facts for today.
One of the things that's difficult is their first response. Oh my God, that happens. We're talking about people being captured, shipped, sold, beaten, raped, experimented on, and then you have to ask the question, did the trauma continue? Yes, so 300 years of trauma, no help, free. No help, no trauma. If it's a sustained trauma, then the impact of that is also sustained. When we look at multi-generational trauma, we're looking at people who are maybe victims of natural disasters, and their families and their children, generations of folks who have experienced war. And we know that there are residual mental, emotional, traumatic impact. And what I did was I started to look at the African American experience, starting with slavery, as a real clear, long, enduring trauma. I started to see that there were clear connections between that survival behavior and contemporary living in African American experience. I started to see common behaviors that I took for granted as cultural. There's adaptive behaviors, survival behaviors. Well, what are they? Let's just say 2019, you have a black mother and a white mother. The sons go to school. They find themselves at a meeting. The black mother leans over to the white mother and says, I just wanted to mention to you that I noticed that your son is really doing well. And the white mother's response is, oh, thank you. She begins to go on and on about he won the science fair, his uncle's an astronaut. She's just oozing. She realizes the black mother's son is actually excelling. And she says, well, wait a minute. Your son's the one that's really coming along. And the black mother responds, oh my God, it's a handful, but oh, he just works my nerves. Now, when I'm working with African American people, it doesn't matter what the audience is. It doesn't matter what class. If I were to ask, is she very proud while she's saying those denigrating things? And everybody laughs and goes, of course, there's a secret. Because everybody black knows that even though the black mother is going, oh my God, she's really good. So now let's roll that scene back 300 years. And let's say this black mother is working in the fields, and a white slave owner comes through and says, wow, that boy is really coming along. What is she going to say? No, he's not. He's stupid. He's shiftless. He can't work. Because I don't want you to sell him.
Wow.
So I denigrate them to protect them. That is called appropriate adaptation when living in a hostile environment. The little white boy, say Timmy, he feels really comfortable and happy about what his mom just said about him. And Trey looks at his mom and wonders, why can't you be proud of him? Because he doesn't understand the secret yet. And by the time he learns the secret, he will have already been injured by it. Post-traumatic slave syndrome. PTSD is a disorder that occurs as a result of a single trauma. You don't even have to be there to actually get a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder. You can just hear about something horrific happening in somebody's life. So you have people who have experienced it firsthand, people who have witnessed it in their environment, right? People who are continuing to be oppressed. That exacerbates any possibility of healing. So it's not post-traumatic stress disorder because then it becomes part of what we call your socialization process. So you begin to normalize a way of living and being. Everything from what we eat to what we believe it means to be a friend. You know, all of these things are colored by history. And if you don't understand it, you're going to fold in things that you've just assumed are normal. But post-traumatic stress disorder, you know, exaggerated startle response, outbursts of anger, feeling of foreshortened future. There was a point where there were African American children in different urban settings that didn't expect to live to be adult because they saw so much death that they started planning their funerals like at 13, 12, you understand. And when you start looking at the simple biology, you start looking at the impact of stress on that. And while we look at general stress, you know, finances, you know, illnesses, all these different things, how about being black? How does factoring in being black in America impact your stress level and therefore your body's ability to operate its own immune system? Because we know it compromises the immune system. Once you understand it, then you can deal with it. Because you see it's habitual. You socialize. It becomes part of your being. So one of the ways you begin to address that multi-generational trauma is to work with the people who directly impact, to hear from them. And when you give the people the information, they can use it. I think the first order of business is beginning to have a conversation. And the other is to educate the larger society. You have to stop the assault. So this is not purely a clinical thing. This requires social justice and change. That's where part of the healing is. It's not in a clinical setting or a pill. It's in fairness and justice and safety and equity. We got to work with some of those clinical things, some of those issues of panic and anxiety. And we also have to deal with the fact that you have a system that is set up to oppress you and to continue to injure you. Both those things have to be dealt with. And they cannot singularly by themselves affect each other. They have to be done together.
Keep listening to Balck Focus Radio for more dynamic Black facts, our culture, our history, our people on joynetradio.com.
And if you would like to sponsor Black Facts or advertise on Joynet Radio, give me a call at 615-554-0568. That was Joy DeGry. That's a bad sister right there, man.
Dave, do you understand now why I denigrate you? I denigrate you for so long. No response, Dave?
I don't need that kind of love.
That face is priceless. I wish they could see that face.
But, you know, it's, you know, what she's talking about, Dr. Milligan, who we've had on the show multiple times, talked about that a lot. And really, when she talks about what Willie Lynch did to begin to train slaves, was they got the biggest and the baddest black person on the plantation, tied him up between two horses and whipped the horses to run in opposite directions, had all the slaves out there so they could watch. And that was the beginning of that post-traumatic slave. In other words, that mother saying, hey, he ain't that good. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So actually, in a roundabout way, she's protecting her son, as Dr. DeGry said, from being killed or sold into another plantation by suggesting that his faculties are not as good as someone else's, so to speak. And we see that even here today. It's amazing. This is why history is so important. We see that today. We hear the saying, and we've heard the saying for a long time. Mothers raise their daughters and love their sons. Mm-hmm. And what that really means is that mothers give their daughters everything they need to do to survive out in the world. Even hardcore discipline that she doesn't give her son. Oftentimes the daughter is doing the ironing, the cleaning, the cooking, all of that stuff, and the son might be watching TV or in today's time doing PlayStation. You see, now I saw this personally with people that I know that okay. And I saw it with multiple families as well. And if you think about it, you've seen it too. We've all seen it.
I've seen it a couple of times, yeah.
Right. So if you've seen it a couple of times,
I am familiar with it.
Just think about how much that happens repeatedly in the black community on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You see what I'm saying?
That's a good point. That's an excellent
So therein lies the problem.
point. I agree.
And it deals with, and we've talked about it a lot on the show already, how do we change that mentality? How do we begin to truly raise our sons? How do we truly begin to give them statistics and information that will make them be better than what they are? I saw, what was I watching? I saw a video, and it's funny this comes up today. I saw a video today, last night, and I don't watch Dr. Phil, okay?
Okay.
But this video popped up on my wall, and it was about, and the title was, "Mother Gives Her Son $1,000 a Month."
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, I heard it though.
And this was a black mother who was clearly a single mother, was giving a son $1,000 a month. She was working, I believe it said she was working 60 hours overtime, regular work and overtime, just to be able to give this boy $1,000 a month so he could do whatever he wanted. And as I sat there and watched that video, I wasn't stunned. You know what I said?
What?
That's the problem. Now, it's not to be critical of the mother, because she's doing exactly what Dr. DeGride and many black psychologists has talked about, is thinking that if she gives her son everything he needs, she can protect him.
Right. Keep him out of trouble.
Keep him out of trouble. Not realizing that she's raising a monster.
I wouldn't say she's raising a monster.
Oh yeah.
But she's
Did you watch the video?
She's raising a man who's not going to be very responsible. I wouldn't say she's raising a monster per se.
Well, to be totally honest, don't take this the wrong way, he didn't even exhibit male traits.
Really?
It makes me wonder if there's even a man in her life. And I doubt that there is, because if there was, that brother would be saying, this is wrong. You should not be doing that.
You know, I read an article, man. It's been a while now. And so the article was talking about the shift. And so what they were saying was, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, black males primarily dominated the workforce.
Right.
Right? And what they're saying now is that now black women are beginning to dominate the workforce.
Well, already, yeah.
Right. And so they were saying that the times were going to change. And what they meant by that was that when you had black men being head of households, the primary breadwinners, that was changing, where you were going to have women who were being the primary breadwinners. And one thing I found really interesting about that is that they were talking about relationships and how you hear women often say, I want to find a man who is equal or who has as much as me. And the great thing about the article that I thought was really interesting is they said that women at a certain age, once you're at one, I think the cutoff was 35 or 40. They were saying women who are 35 or 40 who have yet to find a husband, based on those parameters, more than likely won't.
Right.
Because they were saying that what happens is a man gets married when he's 22, 23, he gets a divorce at 32, 33, and then he's starting over, right? And so that was just really interesting to me that here we are, some 30 years later, removed from the civil rights movement, and we're having all these challenges, but I don't think we really had anyone to sit down and explain to us how this looks as we move forward. Because if women, as you often mention, women are becoming the most agreed of all races, black women. So if that's the case, then if black women are becoming the most agreed, what we're going to soon see is that women are going to primarily dominate the workforce, even more so than men. So I think it's important that we understand how that looks as we move forward. And I think this is a great example of that. You got grown sons who don't know how to properly take care of themselves.
I met a brother, where was I? And I won't call him out. But I went to an event, and he was one of the participants in the event. And of course, you all see me here mainly in t-shirts. I still look pretty hot and tempting just in a tee. When I'm showing my guns off, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, Robert. But when I get spiffied up, I'm a good-looking brother. Okay. So I went to this event, and I like to wear bow ties, and I wear ethnic bow ties, usually kente cloth.
Right.
And this brother was there who was in the event. He walks up to me and says, "Man, that's a bad tie." It was actually a black and white kente cloth tie. I've had it for years. It's one of my favorites. And he said, and he had to be in his early 30s. He says, this is the first time I've worn a tie in my life. He said, I don't even know how to tie a tie.
So is it slip-on?
He said, is that a bow? Did you tie that bow tie, or is it a wrap? The wrap is where it was a wrap. And I said, no, it's a wrap. He said, well, I can't even tie a regular tie. So he had on a suit and tie because he was part of the event.
Right.
But he couldn't tie. Someone had to tie that tie for him.
That's not surprising.
And my point being is that, see, those little bitty things that men bring to the table is what a lot of these young men are missing. Okay? And you throw in the fact, because when I did the rites of passage camps in Memphis and Nashville, we talked about this issue. Many of these young men don't have male role models. They, and quite often, and Dr. Kunjufu talks about that in his book, The Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys, is that you impart on young boys qualities that they're not ready to handle. And what that means is that maybe you're a single mother and you're growing up in a house, and it's you and your young man growing up.
Right.
You say things to him like, you're the man of the house. Well, no, he isn't.
Nobody's prepared him to be a man.
Right.
The man of the house, right?
Because number one, at 9, 10, 11 years old, there's no way you can be the man of the house as defined as being a man. You understand what I'm saying?
You're still a young boy.
You're still a young boy, still learning what it means to be a man. And all of that, growing up with a false sense of what manhood is, mainly gathered from what you see from your friends on the street or what you see on television, all becomes distorted in the young black male's mind and causes him to act out in ways that we could say, for lack of a better term, abnormal, if that makes sense. Okay?
Right.
So I guess the question that we need to, it really goes back to, and I've used this terminology before on the show, menticide, the total destruction of the minds of black people. That's what happened to us. And we have to have a mindectomy. These are things, and that's why I wanted to play this. Because I think and if you all didn't get the I guess you say the link between the Nat Turner story and Dr. DeGry, the link was that Nat Turner had post-traumatic slave syndrome until he realized that he had it, and went on the rampage. Okay? So at some point on Nat Turner's birthday today, we ought to be able to have a revolution in our minds. It should be taking place every day. The revolution in our minds to not live the way we once did, not accept the same things that we've always accepted from our people and people who come to us. This is what the change must happen. And unfortunately, the post-traumatic slave syndrome is alive and well in a lot of our people. And it lives right here in Little Rock. That's why Little Rock is not progressing as it relates to black people. Because many black people in this city don't realize they're sick. And then the ones that are sick have become manipulators of those who are sick. And I'm talking about black people. I'm not talking about white folks. I'm talking about black people who don't realize they're sick, but are manipulating the ones who don't realize they're sick either. They just have more power. Does that make sense? Am I being too analytical right now? I mean, because I can go there.
No, it makes sense. I mean, to some degree, what you're saying makes sense.
So the question we need to ask, and I didn't plan to spend as much on this black fact today, but I thought it was so profound. What are we doing individually, as individuals, and collectively as a group to make changes, to make sure that we are not suffering from post-traumatic slave syndrome? You know, people who are coming back from Iraq are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. They are seeing psychologists. They are taking medication. They are doing all kinds of things to address this mental illness. The problem with black folks is that we've never addressed it in the 400 years.
Well,
And
even in the black community, we actually don't have conversations around.
No, we don't. We don't.
That's to our own detriment.
exactly. And until we begin to address this issue along with mental health, because this is part of our, to me, just based on what I've read, I've read a lot of different doctors and psychologists. This to me is what contributes to a lot of the violence. You heard me say that if I don't believe that I'm worth anything, it's a lot easier for me to shoot someone that looks like me, because in him, I'm seeing me.
And I agree with part of that. And I also believe that, you know, when we start talking about the crimes that happen in our community, in my opinion, those are money crimes. And so you got a guy who's out here selling drugs. And again, if you take my drugs, David, I can't call the police and go, hey, I need to file out a police report. This dude just took a key from me, and I need to get my key back and get the money that he owed me. You can't call the police and do that. So these guys have to figure out a way to handle that without law enforcement. And sometimes, unfortunately, that becomes violent. And so, I mean, that's what's tough. I mean, how do we help brothers understand that there's another way?
Well, you know what I'm going to say? You help them by letting them know who they are. They're not going to grow up with those age-old stereotypes and those quote-unquote family curses. Or biases. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You don't do it this way. No, I don't. Well, I didn't teach you that way. I know you didn't, but I've learned a new way. It's the same with our religion. It's the same with Christianity.
I think we all evolve.
Right.
I think that's fair to say. We all evolve.
Yeah. But it's the same with your Christianity. At some point, you have to evolve. You have to read more and understand not just to be able to quote a Bible verse, but you need to know the origin of your faith. How was it created? Who created it? How has it been bastardized over the centuries to manipulate and kill and destroy? Mm-hmm. Because at the base of all of this is religion, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Buddhism, whether it's Islam. Right. At the base of all of it. And every one of them have been used to kill and destroy.
I agree.
Okay, I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Dr. DeGrye just kind of touched me. I wanted to expound on that a little bit. Whew, man, I'm feeling good today. By the way, the Amber Guyger trial, it starts up again at 1:30. We'll try to get you some information. Hopefully, I didn't want to hear the testimonies as far as the family members. I listened to a little bit of it this morning. It's just too emotional. I can't listen. And I sure as hell didn't want to hear Amber Guyger's friends.
Yeah, it's pretty depressing.
Yeah. I didn't want to hear Amber Guyger's friends at all. Your friend just murdered a man in cold blood in his house. She ain't too good. I'm just sorry. No, I'm not sorry.
They still got to do what they do.
You know. She's just a nice person.
She probably is a nice person. You can do bad things and still be a good person. I totally believe that. Dave, what does that mean? What does that look for?
Oh, so you can kill somebody in cold blood
Yeah,
and
if it's,
still
if
be
it's for the right reason.
that's not murder. You can murder someone in their own house in cold blood and still be a nice person.
Regardless of murder's murder. Regardless of what other circumstances you want to add to it. At the end of the day, murder is murder. You take a life, you take a life. Be it self-defense, be it whatever you want to give it, it's still murder. And I think people can murder people and still be good people, Dave.
I can't believe you sit up here feeling sorry for Amber.
I'm not feeling sorry for her. I'm making a point. I believe you can still murder somebody and be a good person.
Did you like fall in love with her through the internet? You know, Amber Guyger.
Oh yeah, I thought you were talking about Tammy Kemp. Yeah. I thought you were talking about T. Kemp. I'm all in with T. Kemp.
So, since we're talking about Amber, they had a former addict testify on her behalf.
A former addict?
Really? That's what Tanya said, really. So, here's the other thing. So, did y'all see the black woman, after the verdict was read yesterday, walk over to Amber Guyger and start stroking her hair and consoling her?
Yeah, she was telling the girl, I'm gonna lock you up.
No, she wasn't saying that.
She probably said in her head, y'all. She probably said in her head, I'm about to lock that. I'm about to lock you up.
Well, I thought I was overreacting because I'm saying to myself, you don't need to be consoling her ass, excuse my French. Let her suffer. Let her sit in that chair and whine and bawl all she wants, okay? So apparently there were other people who saw that as well and took issue of it, okay? And I'm glad they did, okay? Here's what Tariq Nasheed said, and he's right on point. There was some subtle mammying going on in the courtroom in the Amber Guyger case today. That's why I really want to see what sentence is going to be handed out, okay? Now, I just found that curious.
What's that?
If that would have been a black male sitting there, would she have went over there and touched him on the shoulder and consoled him and cajoled him?
Maybe if he was a black male cop, maybe.
Okay, so is your role today to make excuses for everything?
No.
Is that what you're gonna do today? Is that what you're gonna do today, Rob? One, tell our listeners, I'm here to just make excuses for everything today.
My point is that sometimes, Dave, she really was being sincere. I don't think she was. I mean, I know people want to say she was stepping and fetching it, but I mean, you know, black folk, we show empathy to folks. Unfortunately, we show it quite often, and very seldom is it always shown to us. Dave, you gonna make that face all day today? I can't take it, Dave. I can't take the face all day today.
I was like, this is the third time I've looked at you like that, okay? You getting that right? You about to run out of strikes, okay?
But Dave, legit though. I mean, seriously, it's possible that she felt empathy for her in that moment.
So let me ask you a question. Botham John is dead. His family was on the other side of the courtroom. Did you show any empathy for Botham John? When the verdict was read and the mother lifted her hands, black woman police officer, did you go over there and hug Miss Botham John?
No.
Did you?
Not.
In fact, did any of the black cops in there hug Miss Botham John?
Probably not, because they got to toe the blue line. I completely understand that.
So she was doing it not because of empathy.
Well,
maybe she was trying to get a promotion.
By showing empathy, showing compassion to Amber Guyger. How would they give her?
She was towing the blue line.
Well, I think she was towing the blue line. A lot of police officers toe the blue line. I mean, hey, a lot of black police officers toe the blue line. Not uncommon.
Well, I just think that was pretty pathetic. I want her job. I ain't taking no prisoners today, Robert. I'm leaving them all on the beach for the wolves and the sharks.
You know, I think sometimes we as a black community, we don't always agree on what other people do. I mean, in particular, black folk, right? Mm-hmm. We don't always agree on some of their actions. But I gotta tell you something, though, man. The white people at the city have taught me a serious lesson that I will never forget.
And what is that?
that they will work together even if it's at their own peril.
Yes, they will.
You had
They will.
You had 3 people who worked in.
You had to you had to go through the city to know that. I've been knowing that all my life.
Well, the example was you had 3 people who worked inside the park department who virtually lied to save one of their own.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the other hand, and they were not related, right? Now we would do that for our family, but black folks as a whole, we wouldn't do that for each other. These folks lied to the police on the behalf of one of their colleagues. You with me? Now, that completely changed my perspective about how I deal with people, and if they wrong, if they've done something wrong, how I deal with them, because they do it. They don't have any qualms about it. So why should I? So when people often say, well, you know, they have committed a crime before. I don't really care. Not anymore. I used to. I don't care anymore. I don't care what they did before. Let's just get it done. Let's rock it out. Because again, we have always played by a certain set of rules, and those rules to some degree have been biblical in a sense. Nobody else seems to play by those biblical rules but us.
No, they don't. So again, is that part of the post-traumatic slave disorder?
Well, I think so, because that, you know, the whole religious framework was introduced to us as slavery. So, and people want to say, you know, you go back to Africa, that was Christianity in Africa. I don't remember that. We worship gods. We worship gods. We had several gods, right? So it was totally different.
Well, it was Christianity is supposedly the worship of one God.
One God. Yeah,
so Africa gave monotheism, which is the relationship to one God to the world. Now, the story of Jesus has been duplicated at least 3 times in history beforehand. So that's just a copy more than anything else. But
I'm not knocking religion, people. I'm not knocking y'all's religion. That's not what I'm doing.
No, we're not.
Nor am I discrediting your God.
When we have these conversations, this is for your edification, okay? And if you don't get that, then that's part of your problem, not my problem. And if you doubt what I say or Robert says as it relates to the evolution of religion in this world, I'll be glad to provide you text from renowned sociologists, anthropologists, and psychologists. Okay? So don't get your panties in a wad. I'm just saying.
You're a cold piece of
No, we just have to be able to have these conversations, because if we're going to fix us, then we need to understand what's wrong with us. Okay? And what has contributed to us. How is it that you could be the majority on a plantation, it could be 50 slaves and 5 white folks, and those white folks don't come up dead? Yet they quartering you, hanging you, raping your women. How is it that they were able to do that? That was a psychological war that continues to go on today. Now, is it in the form of slavery? No, because they control your mind. What did Willie Lynch say? If you do this correctly, then it will affect generations to come. We're just up from slavery from 1964. Because if you think you weren't enslaved up until 64, you're a damn fool. Say Jim Crow. Say black codes. Okay? Say white water fountains. Say eating out the back doors. Say Green Book. So if you don't think you were enslaved in the 50s and the 60s, you have no concept of what your history is all about. So we have not been removed from slavery yet for a full generation. Think about that. So we got a long way to go. I believe it is my job, your job, and people like me to educate our young people. That's why African history is so important. Even if they're not teaching it in schools, you've got Facebook, you've got a computer, you've got a phone. You ought to be teaching African history every day. That's what's going to empower our young people. Understanding that they didn't come from slaves, they came from kings and queens. They came from architects. They came from the first doctors. They came from the first people who charted the stars. You heard me read that piece about Nat Turner, that his tribe was so powerful that in 1765, the slave world tried to pass a law that said, do not capture and enslave these people because they are not docile. Think about that. That's what understanding your history is all about. 855-525. But I was just a little concerned that the cop was brushing Amber Guyger's hair. And besides, she gonna get her hair brushed plenty of times while she in the big house. Okay?
Lulu gonna hook her up.
That's right. Lulu gonna hook her up. Your hair so pretty.
You so pretty.
I always want hair like that.
You gonna be my girlfriend.
You know, I'll protect you. Here, come on over
You
here.
gonna be my girlfriend.
Okay.
Girl.
So she gonna get plenty of hair brushing in jail. And by the way, thanks for Dr. Ray Winbush for publishing a meme that had a cell block and had Amber Guyger's name over the top of her cell. And the caption stated, "This is just so she won't walk into the wrong cell."
That's cold. That's cold. So she won't walk into the wrong cell.
Woo!
That's cold. That's really cold.
So that came from a boy, Dr. Ray Winbush. Russ said, "I need to stop. I'm gonna make him choke."
Who?
Russ. I'm just saying, man. Let's see. I was told the Willie Lynch letter was a literary writing, and it really didn't happen. I've been told that too, but we don't know. But something happened because what it says in that letter, it sure is playing out today. But even if it didn't happen, you can still use it as a moniker to what's happening with us today. We know, as Robert and I have been talking about this hour, about mothers raise their daughters and love their sons, and where that came from. That came from slavery.
I mean, what's the best way to destroy a race than to make its men obsolete?
Or make them docile.
Well, make them obsolete. I mean, make them ineffective and make them
right.
Jesus, you just make them non-existent almost.
Exactly.
You get them locked up. They get them locked up and either murdered. Then you add in the AIDS epidemic, and you add all these things. You look at the outcome for black males.
Don't forget about homosexuality.
Yeah, but I mean, then it's
that seems to be on a rise.
Right, and then it's easy to say that that's simple extermination. I mean, that's simple and systematic extermination of black males. Yeah.
Now, before y'all get mad at me because I threw in homosexuality, that's your business, okay? I'm just simply saying I don't believe men ought to be that way. That's just me. If you're that way, that's your business. 855-525-5683 is the number. We got a little time before we go to the top of the hour break. Let's go out to talk on the phones to a caller. Hey, caller, you're on Balck Focus Radio. What's your name, and welcome to the show?
To God.
Your name is Peace to the God?
No, I'm saying peace to you guys.
Hi, Miss Johnson. Welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Man, y'all touching on so many great topics and issues today. One that I haven't necessarily followed the trial, but I did see what the verdict was coming out with the Amber, whatever her last name is, Guyger. And I actually accidentally clicked into a live chat where they had came out with their verdict of guilty, but no one really knew if she was being convicted of manslaughter or murder. I did find out later that it was murder. And a lot of the people in that chat were saying that she would probably get that changed up on appeal. So not really sure about whatever, but I just appreciate the fact that they are finally holding white women accountable for their part. They have been allowed to escape accountability for so many years. The majority of issues that come down when it is dealing with a white woman, they get the most sympathy, they get the most, they're allowed to give the most excuses. They criteria of gold, you could say. So for me, a melanoid woman, finally seeing a non-melanoid woman being held accountable for her atrocities, that was really a spiritual win. And I appreciate that in this day and time, because it's time for us to stop acting like all of our problems and issues in the world is coming strictly from the white male. And I told them the mothers and the daughters and the sisters and the aunts of these men accountable for their part of it. That male has to pass through a white womb. And so how is the white womb allowed to escape accountability when they have never allowed the black womb to do so?
Woo, sister, you speaking. Go ahead.
That I wanted to touch on was the generational poverty from melanoid mothers to melanoid daughters, and just melanoid children in general, not just daughters but sons also. I interact with children and mothers in the community all the time, and what frustrates me the most is how the mothers, the melanoid womb has allowed their children to become so docile in a society and so disconnected from from the reality of society. That frustrates me, it hurts me. Because our children care more about clothes, shoes, video games than they do about survival. And that's how they're victims. That's how they become, what is his name, Boston? I'm not really sure, but I think one of the issues was that he was in a relationship with this woman. And I have nothing against.
Well, let me just correct you. That has never come out. That's rumor, but that did not come out in the trial. Yeah, that's rumor. That did not come out in the trial.
Thank you so much for clarifying that for me. But in other situations, our children, they don't really know our history because the parents aren't talking to them about our history. They are trying to make them feel secure in that they are equal, and they're not giving them the historical lessons that they need in order to protect themselves. And that's what I wanted to call in and say. I appreciate you all for having this conversation, and keep up the great work.
Hey, Ms. Johnson, before you go, where are you calling from? Little Rock? Calling from Little Rock, and you're a first-time caller? All right, well, keep listening, and hey, we appreciate you calling.
Yeah, thank you for calling in, Ms. J.
All right, bye-bye.
Peace.
Good call.
That was a good call.
Good call, no doubt about that.
Always, every day.
And but again, and those rumors were out about Botham Jean and Amber Guyger, but those have been unsubstantiated.
Well, it had to be
least.
something for that woman to walk in that man's house and she didn't.
Well, that is the peculiar thing about it, But we do know that she was having a relationship with a married man.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna tell you something. I mean.
That's who she was sexting at the time.
If I walk in my house and there's a guy in my house breaking in my house, I don't know. I'd like to think I would not kill him. I would like to think I wouldn't. I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would or wouldn't. I couldn't say that to be 100%. I couldn't say whether I would kill him or not.
But you're a civilian.
Right. And so what you're saying is because she's a police officer.
She's a trained police officer.
Okay.
It makes all the difference in the world. And that's why all of the things that were coming out as far as ignoring the red rug, didn't bother to look up and see that you were at 1478 and not 1378. Not realizing that when you put your fob up to the door, it was red and not green. When you walked into the house and you smelled marijuana, according to what you say, I still don't believe that, because they didn't say they found any marijuana. They just said they smelled it. So if he's smoking pot, he's got a stash somewhere around that. There was no stash found. So again, that was one of those ploys to try to dirty him up. But even still, when you smelled marijuana, you should have known that was not your house, unless you smoke pot too. Yeah. Okay. Now, and then when you walked into the door and saw the light, the television that was larger than your television, and you certainly saw the illumination of the apartment, the furniture. Your trained observation should have said, "I'm in the wrong spot."
I don't disagree with you, man. I don't disagree with you. For me, though, like I said, for me, as I said yesterday, I'm gonna reiterate this today. Her being found not guilty in no way makes up for all
guilty.
Her being found guilty in no way makes up for all the other verdicts of not guilty for officers who shot unarmed black men. This is not even close.
I agree.
So I don't even want people starting to compare the two, because it's not close.
I agree.
This man was in his own home. He was in his own home. Wasn't a traffic stop. She was not in a police car. I mean, none of this applies to the other incidents that we've talked about before. This does not apply. And people, I mean, and that's disappointing to me that people want to make the comparison. I understand that we want to find some kind of silver lining in this verdict, but unfortunately, this verdict is not the verdict that I want a guilty verdict from. I want a guilty verdict from a police officer who pulls over an unarmed black man, then shoots him dead. Mm-hmm. That's what I want a not guilty verdict.
Right.
Now,
you mean a guilty verdict?
A guilty verdict. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to diminish this verdict in any way. I just want to identify the distinct differences between the two.
Well, in other words, and I think what you're saying, and certainly I don't need to put words in your mouth because you wax so eloquently. But
well, thank you,
you're so welcome. But the point I think you're trying to make is that...
No, I'm not trying to make it. I just made it.
Well, you just made the point that at the end of the day, if you want to say this is justice, then it should apply to every case.
To every case, yeah.
We have 3 cases here alone in Little Rock where it didn't apply.
Yeah.
And having one guilty verdict out of what? 40, 50, 60, 100, who knows how many?
Right.
Who knows, and how many that have occurred without videotape? No, one guilty verdict does not say, okay, everything is all right. And unfortunately, one of the attorneys said that in the press conference yesterday, and that's where people are getting that from, as they started rattling off all of the names of some of the names of the people that were killed.
You can't do that.
But it does not apply because those parents...
It may be justice for Mr. Ellison, but you still can't say it's justice for Mr. Ellison. The people that shot and killed him were never put on trial.
Right.
There were other people who've been shot in their homes. The lady in Atlanta who was shot by the police when they thought they were doing a drug raid. Mm-hmm. The 90-some-year-old woman.
Yeah.
There was no justice for her because those officers were never put on trial. Again, let's look at this for what it really is. Was it a victory? I feel it was a victory, and I'm very proud of the verdict. Very proud.
It was an individual victory.
It was an individual victory.
Right.
It wasn't a collective victory because again, I can't accept collective victories because if you convict one guy but you let 12 go, hell, how is that a victory? You won in 12. You won in 13. How is that a victory?
Yep. Good point. Tanya says the lawyers were trying to grandstand. I don't know if they were grandstanding. I just think that they were happy that they got a victory because all of them have been fighting these things for I don't know how long. So, but
well, I'm just looking to see what they do with the civil suit. That's what's most important.
Well, I'm looking to see how much time they're gonna give her. That's what I'm waiting on right now. Okay.
Honestly, I don't think they're gonna give her any time. I think it's gonna be something. I think it's gonna be something ridiculous.
Right.
I'm preparing myself for
And so, and that if they give her less than 10 years, less than 5 years, then what we just said about what those lawyers were saying, it even underscores it even more that was not a victory.
Yeah, well, it's still not a victory.
You should have held off until they sentenced her.
It's still not a victory. Again, if you 1 for 13, how do you consider that to be a victory? You can't be 1 for 13 and say we won. Okay, so you happy that you won one game? Come on now, let's not do that.
Yeah, that ain't too good. All right, we're going to take a top of the hour break. We'll be back here in just a moment. And I'll tell you the letter that I got from the United States District Court yesterday.
Oh, they want you to come jury duty. You going?
Yeah.
Can we broadcast live from the hallway?
You got it. He's Little answer to your aggravation.
Ladies and gentlemen, saints abroad, get ready from Sumter, South Carolina. It's Minister Lee Burgess and Resurrection.
Okay.
Minister Lee Burgess and Resurrection are talented. Have been doing this a little while now, but have just released for your enjoyment their new single.
You got to remind, we have podcasts now. We have a podcast.
This new project is available on all digital outlets.
Yeah, a podcast.
Now and catch up to what
It's on Google Play. It's on any of the Apple, all of them.
6227.
All right. So anytime they, when you out, they can just go to whatever prospective podcast they use, put in Balck Focus Radio. I'm uploading every show. Okay. So every day after the show, I upload it.
That's 501-406-7134.
Yeah.
That will get you some fabulous chicken wings.
They're beginning to
right to your door.
I don't know where those are from. Let's look at the map. They're beginning to crank up, aren't they? Which is a good thing.
You gotta do the video, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, you want me to keep going?
Where's my? Oh, there it is. So the majority of them are coming from Little Rock.
It's going down. Just call the number 501-406-7134. That's 501-406-7134.
Yep.
Great American Wings, and I'm telling you,
That's Los Angeles.
And
New York.
right to your door. Call that number and get in touch today. As a matter of fact, you can drop by. We're located at 6323 Colonel Glen Road in Little Rock. That's Great American Wings.
Hi, I'm attorney Guyger Thompson from the Thompson Law Firm, and I want to help with your legal matters. Whether it's criminal defense, bankruptcy, personal injury, or family law, I want to help you. I can be reached at 501-503-5095. Don't face your legal issues alone. You need an attorney whose primary objective is to provide you with the best legal representation. Our office address is 415 North McKinley, Suite 710 in Little Rock. I'm attorney Guyger Thompson, and I want to provide you with the best legal representation.
Business owners, spread the word about your goods and services during the Little Rock Central Tigers 2019 football season. This is a great opportunity to inform the largest alumni base in the state of Arkansas about your great products. We'll professionally produce your ads or submit your own. You must act quick as a cat because spots are limited. Contact David W. Coleman at 615-554-0568 to support the Tigers. Proceeds to benefit the Little Rock Central High Tigers Athletic Fund.
I'm going to send her an email today.
He's Little Rock's answer to your aggravation. The Joy Network.
The views and opinions expressed today on Balck Focus Radio are not the views
finally
and
got
opinions
that
of
other
the
stuff
station,
worked out
its
that we talked
management,
about.
or its
That's what I've been
advertisers.
trying to
Now, let's get ready
focus
to
on
focus
lately.
on
So
our
it's
issues,
finally,
our solutions, using
in fact,
our voices on
I got
Balck
the,
Focus Radio.
got an email this morning from the big guy.
Welcome to Balck Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing
So I'll
our
spend the next few
solutions
weeks,
using
well, the
our
next
forces.
7 to 10 days,
Arkansas, surrounding
starting some
areas,
more
and the nation.
fundraising.
Get ready, Balck Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5683. So here's
Want to try to
your
raise
host,
another
David W.
$5,000 before the season
and
for these
Robert
next 3
Webb.
games. 3. All right. Welcome back to the show, Balck Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. David Coleman along with Robert Webb, 855-525-5683. 83 is the number. You know, that theme is pretty catchy.
It is pretty good, man.
No,
it is pretty good. I picked out a good song, man. I appreciate you. You're welcome, Dave. Moving right along there, Dave. What are we on to now? Is that the fourth time you gave me that?
That's the fourth one, baby. You run it out, dog. You run it out. I'm just going to tell you right now. I love you like a brother from another mother, but just keep it up. Just keep it up, bro. You know, I'm in a boxing mood anyway right now. But anyway, so yesterday I got home and looked in the mailbox, and there, lo and behold, there was a letter from the United States District Court.
Okay.
The Southern Division.
David Coburn will be doing jury duty.
It ain't jury duty yet.
Oh, they gonna get you.
I have to go out and do the survey
They
and
gonna
stuff.
get you, dog.
Okay.
They're bringing you in.
But I'm thinking, now wait a minute. If they gonna arrest me, I started looking around, seeing if there was some like cars with tinted windows and men with dark shades on and black suits on, talking on. It was nothing like that. I thought maybe I was getting ready to go into witness protection or something.
Yeah.
But I got a letter to fill out the survey and this is apparently a federal trial. Or what they're probably doing is getting people who, for federal trials coming up. Mm-hmm. That's what they're doing, getting a database of people. Right. So I got to go out and fill out the survey. And I'm going to be totally honest with you, I'm glad. I want to serve.
You're not going to serve, Dave.
Why?
Because I'm not going to let you, Dave.
How do you know that?
I already know. What are you going to tell him, Dave?
Why?
I mean, tell me what you're going to tell him. I'll tell you what I'm not going to say.
What you mean am I going to? I haven't read the survey yet.
It don't matter. When they get you in court and ask you the very simple question.
Like what? Give me one.
Can you be neutral?
Yes, I can.
That's the fifth time you gave me that face.
What, you don't think I can be neutral?
I think you probably.
I'm hoping it's like a black guy.
I think you probably cannot be neutral. But however, that being said, Dave, you're not gonna. I'm sorry, Dave.
Why you gonna rain on my parade? I was beginning to feel like I've never been called to jury duty, and I've often wondered why. I'm an upstanding citizen. I vote, and I was beginning to feel neglected. And then I get home yesterday, and they didn't call me for a little city stanky trial. Mm-hmm. They called me for apparently something federal, and I'm feeling proud.
Yeah, Dave.
Here I am, David W. Coleman, gets a letter to be questioned to get on a federal jury, and you gonna raid on the black man's parade? Why you gonna do that, man?
Dave,
just
to be honest with you, Dave, I went to, I did all that. Right, mm-hmm. And I went down, and I was really excited because I've never done jury duty, and I really want to do it. I just really want to be part of a jury.
Yeah, I do too.
So in 2012, I got a summons to come, go through the whole process, and I did that. Right?
And I can't ignore that letter, by the way. It's a federal law. I have to go and fill out that thing.
You have to go and fill out the information.
Yeah.
So I did everything I was supposed to do. I went to court. I went down on the day they told me to go down, and I thought I was going to get kicked out because there's so many people in the room, and I actually got to be a part of a jury, to be part of not the jury, but whatever they call it, and so,
a gaggle,
pretty much.
Yeah.
I got up there, and the guy asked me my name. What do you do? And I just saw it as a construction. I didn't say nothing about being a community advocate. I did not. And so the guy asked me, what do you do? I said, I'm in construction. And I can't remember, he asked me like two other questions. And the guy asked me, am I familiar with the law? And that's where I messed up at. I should have said no, but I said yes, as I'm a community advocate.
Just the law itself?
He asked me, he just asked me if I was familiar with the law.
Not a specific law.
Not a specific law.
Okay.
Just if I was familiar with the law.
Because I'm taking notes here, because
I'm a cheat. I'm familiar. I am somewhat familiar with the law. And I said, I am familiar with the law. I'm a community advocate. And the guy says, a community advocate? And I said, yes, sir. And I thought about it. I just got kicked off. But he asked me a couple other questions, and the prosecution was like, nah, we don't want him. But the defense was like, yeah, we want him. We want him, right? But I got kicked off, man. Yeah, the guy used exemplary or whatever it is, and he kicked me off.
So I need to like wear a disguise and my nerd makeup and like a pocket protector.
I think my problem was I actually I actually told him I was a community advocate. I think that was my problem. Okay. I don't think the issue was knowing the law. I think saying I'm an advocate, and normally advocates are usually not the most supportive of traditional government, right? So in some cases, so I think that's why I was removed. That's why. Okay. That's my thinking anyway. I can't.
Well, I'm not like you.
Sure. But
I'm not like you.
Let me tell you what was really nice. After I walked out.
How much they pay you, by the way?
I don't know. I never got that far.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they don't pay you for like your time for going down there, like gas or anything like that?
Yeah, they pay you for that, but I don't remember how much.
Oh,
it was.
okay.
And plus, I didn't get that because I didn't go. You only get that, I think, if you actually serve.
Oh. Okay.
I don't think you get money if you just go through that whole process.
Okay.
I didn't anyway. I don't know if it's different for somebody else.
Okay.
But then when I got through and I was walking out, the lady said, "Excuse me." I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Well, we just want to let you know that you're going to be exempt for 10 years." And I was like, "But I didn't even get home." So I don't worry about going to jury duty to 2030.
Why would you be exempt for 10 years?
I don't know.
Was it something you said?
Probably. So I wanted to go back for 10 years. And I really wanted to be on a jury. I really wanted to see how that whole process works.
Well, I'm not going to let you rain on my parade. I'm getting chosen.
No, Dave, you're not going to get chosen.
Okay, will you stop saying that?
You want me to lie to you?
No, well, at least be positive. I want to be a juror.
Dave.
I spend my lifelong dream to sit up there and say,
Dave.
and
do you ever listen to the shows after we do them?
Yeah.
Ain't no way in the hell they gonna put you on the jury.
What I say?
See, Dave, you go in there. I don't know if you ever seen the Blacklist. Have you ever seen Blacklist?
Oh yeah, I have.
Okay, so it was the Blacklist where Red was going on trial, and Red told Kimber, "Get me somebody who's friendly." So they sent the little man there with the short arms, right? So he got in there. He was like, "Yeah, I ain't never been chosen before. My other judge, she didn't even give me a chance." She said, "Well, in your affidavit, you said you never been chosen before." He was like, "Oh man, I forgot. I got sued by the casino for sliding dice." That's you, Dave. You're not gonna make it, man.
Come on, Robert. Be positive.
You're going to impeach yourself.
You know why? You know why you're saying that?
They gonna ask you a question, Dave. Do you believe that black men are unjustly
You know why you're saying that?
Yeah, black men are unjustly prosecuted.
You know why you're saying that? You know why you're trying to hurt me? You know why you're trying to hurt you? You are. You know what? Because since you've been whiteballed for 10 years. You want me to suffer that same fate. You don't want me to have over you that they chose me as a juror and they exiled you.
Dave, I would be so happy if they chose you.
It's for federal court, Russ. I hope I make it.
Okay, so I have to address these texts I get, because you know what, people think they can just text me and say whatever they want to because I'm on the radio and they wherever they are sending these little evil texts. What a play on words. Advocates are not supportive of traditional government. In other words, you are exactly what I said you are, a radical. Martin Luther King was a radical.
So was Malcolm.
So was
Marcus.
So was Gandhi.
Yeah.
So if you want to call me a radical, because I fight for my people, then so be it. I'm a radical. I am a radical. No problem.
Why would someone even send that to you?
Because, man, people like to go at me. I love it, though. I love when they go at me. Because it lets me know that I'm doing something right. Too bad I've retired, though.
You have?
I have. God.
Have you really retired?
I'm really retired.
Really, Robert?
Really retired.
Really? Really?
Even though Russ won't let me, Russ keeps sending me this stuff, but I'm retired, right?
Oh, well, why don't you just block Russ?
That's not why I can't block him. It's like me blocking you. I can't block him.
But if you're not an advocate, you don't want any parts. It's like having an ex-wife. You block her. You don't talk to her.
Okay. But it ain't. Hey, I still want to know what's going on. I'm not going to be active, but I still want to know what's going on. I mean, that's important to still know what's happening.
I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be doing any movements or, stomping no.
You're not going to be marching and singing "We Shall Overcome."
Board meetings. No, I'm not going to be going up in no board.
So if I say, Robert, I really need you to be at this meeting tonight, you're not going to come for the black man?
Quote me now. What?
You're not going to come for, if I say I need you here, Robert, you're not going to just come and show moral support?
For what? What you gonna be doing?
I don't know. I just might come
It
up with
depends.
something.
It might impact my cash flow, man. I can't even mess around with y'all black folks and y'all issues.
Yeah, I see.
If you call me Dave, if anybody call me and tell me they need a body, I'll come be a warm body.
That's what I'm saying. You ain't got to. You know. And after I finish, Mr. Robert Webb is gonna come up and add a few comments of his own.
You know what I'm gonna come and say?
Get up here, Robert. Come on, man.
I think whatever y'all doing to them, y'all should keep doing because they wrong. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Okay, well.
Nah, man. I told you seriously. You can't serve two gods, man. You can't be a capitalist and an advocate.
How about being a capitalistic advocate?
No such thing.
Okay.
No such thing, brother. You gotta be one or the other. You can't be both. You serving two different masters, man.
All right. Well, I ain't doing none of it. Okay. So one other thing I want to talk about real fast. Did you hear what PLOTUS did or suggested? I know you don't like talking about PLOTUS.
No, you just want to though.
But
you just get excited about talking.
You'll like this.
Okay.
You'll like
Let's
this.
see.
You will.
Okay,
you don't trust me.
No, but go ahead.
Okay. You'll like this.
Okay.
So they discovered that PLOTUS, when he was trying to keep the immigrants from crossing the Rio Grande, one of the suggestions that he made was to shoot them in the kneecaps.
Okay.
Okay. You said that like that was pretty cool.
Okay, yeah. I'm just processing it in my head. Go ahead.
And then the other suggestion that he had, and the reason it stood out to me because it clearly says this man is a racist SOB, man. Because I know where he got this from. He said they ought to put snakes and alligators into the Rio Grande. So when people crossed it, they would be eaten by alligators. And I'm paraphrasing. So when I heard that, the first thing I thought about was Florida, when they would take and steal black babies and use them as bait for alligators. Okay. So I just thought that was kind of racist. But I shouldn't be surprised, right?
I know this is going to sound really negative. However,
here we go.
If you're going to do that, my only concern is who's going to cover the medical expenses? I mean, if we're going to shoot them with American bullets and they're on American soil, will we then be liable to give them health care?
No, they would be on Mexican soil, but
they're coming across the Rio Grande. They're already here.
No, they don't. They're not technically here until they have gotten on American shores.
So when are we gonna shoot them? When they're in the water?
I guess.
How are we gonna see their knees in the water?
You could have Amber Guyger. She's a good shot.
Oh jeez.
Too early.
Too early.
I'm sorry.
Way too early.
I'm sorry.
I don't. Yeah, to me.
And then if you shoot them on Mexican soil, then that's a national incident. That's an act of war.
That's an act of war, exactly. So I don't see how that whole thing works.
But the alligators would work fine because then they'd be in the water, and then the alligators would eat them.
Well, if that's the case, why don't we just put gas on the water and set the water on fire?
There you go. You need to contact the president. That might be something that would work.
Because you can't swim all the way underwater.
Right, and don't worry about the pollution and stuff and the dead fish that'll happen in that.
Don't even worry about it.
At one time,
our biggest thing is keeping immigrants out of the country.
There you go.
Don't even worry about that.
Because at one time the lake in Cleveland was on fire.
Oh, we could just drop bombs on them every day. Every day we just drop bombs.
Well, now see that would be expensive.
Well, no different than setting it on fire.
Well, not really, because if you just set it on fire, it'll just
burn.
burn.
Gas in California, man, shit, that's expensive. It was like $4 a gallon.
No, it's more than that.
So, when I was there, it was $4.19 a gallon.
Oh, so it's getting ready to go.
So if you buy gas,
that's cheap from the last time I was there.
Don't say that.
Last time I was in California, last year, it was $7.69 a gallon.
Man, I stopped at this little place outside of New Mexico, right before I think it was like Needles, either Needles, California or Needles, Arizona, whichever one. The gas was $4.19. It took $112 to fill my truck up. So let me clarify this for y'all. The pump only gave me $100. I had to stick my card in there again to fill it all the way up. Because it stops at 100.
They're designed to do that.
Yeah, it just died at 100. It was like, dude, we done. $100 all you get, right? When I got to California, I was in, I don't remember where, I want to say I might have been in LA, or outside of LA. I stopped to get gas again. It was $120.
Yeah. The deeper you go into LA, the city.
No, I went in the city, bro.
And I'm just saying, the deeper you go into the city, the more expensive it is.
Yeah, I won't be going to California again.
Well, that's why I always fly and have someone to pick me up at LAX.
Well, you know what? I could have flown, but let me tell you what I love about driving. This is me. This is just me. So what I do is I make sure that I drive, and when I go to California, I always like to stop in different places and see different stuff. And I didn't do that this time. I was really disappointed because I was trying to get back. But man, I got down there, and I love just looking at the scenery. And the one thing about that drive is that's not a lot of scenery. You're looking at mountains, and you're looking at dirt, and you're looking at sand. That's it. I mean, it's like you come on in town, you're thinking, oh man, this is really nice. And then you don't sit another time for 80 miles. I mean, this is crazy, right?
I know.
So if you don't stop and get gas, man, it could be miserable.
I love those signs that says last gas for 120 miles.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I made that drive.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
I made that. In fact, I've driven to Seattle. Now, Seattle's a trip. But it's beautiful, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Those mountains, the Rockies are fantastic. I mean, it's great camera and but I used to be that way. I used to drive everywhere. Because I used to like you just said, stop, pull over. I see a site that I wanted to go to. You know, I could go to it. I ain't got to rush this, that, and the other. But now, baby, put me on that bird. Sorry. I'm on the bird, baby.
Well, I like the convenience of being able to leave when I want to leave.
Put me on the bird.
I don't want to be at nobody's. I don't want to be dependent on nobody to give me a ride if I want to go somewhere.
Well,
I like to explore cities.
There were a few times that I've rented a car when I was in Los Angeles, but
California itself is expensive. I want nothing to do with California.
No, I would not live there at all.
There's nothing cheap about California.
No, I would not live there at all. No. It's like when we were in San Francisco, we stayed at the hotel down on the wharf, and the bottled water in the room, they actually had liquor and water for you in the room. Yeah. The bottled water was $9 for a 16 ounce
I mean,
bottle.
just imagine that's hotel prices, right? So my uncle, who has a beautiful home in San Leandro, is it San Leandro? I'm not saying San Lorenzo, right? There's a beautiful home in San Lorenzo. Now, crazy thing is, you pick this home up and you put it in Little Rock. Probably pay $110 for it.
Yep.
Depending on where you put it, right? It was, I think he told me $690.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, who the hell pays $690,000 for a house like this?
Yep.
So my uncle loved saying this to me the whole time, right? He says, you're paying for this right here. And I was like, what's this right here? He said, come on, let's walk outside. He said, you feel that? I said, what? He said, no humidity. He said, that's what you're paying for. So I get it. I mean, I must admit, the weather was amazing. Right? Now, the weather was amazing. We played golf. I mean, we could play golf anytime. It didn't matter. That was pretty cool. But, man, I mean, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. I bought a pack of cigarettes. A pack of cigarettes was $10, bro. At one place, it was $13. I almost stopped smoking in California.
Well, you maybe need to go back. So
no.
But I mean, that's like Hawaii. I mean, it was the same difference. You know, in fact, it was even more in Hawaii.
You're paying for the weather.
Well, you're definitely paying for the weather in Hawaii. It's a postcard if you really look out there. It just really is. But anyway, so at 1:30 they're going to resume the trial for Amber Guyger. If we get some information before the show is over, we will definitely get that out to you.
I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you heard, but I can't think of the man's name in North Florida right now. He is not running for re-election, so you got everybody's about to re-up again and try for it again.
He's not running for re-election. You know who's running for re-election?
Who?
Tracy Steele. Running for mayor.
Yeah, Tracy's gonna run.
Yeah.
Terry Harwood is gonna run. There was somebody else. I can't remember the other person. But I hope Tracy wins this time. Let's see. Hopefully he'll pull it off this time. So that's the 5th time you give me that face, Dave.
I want you to listen to these two young girls.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. Just hang on a minute. Let me pause one thing.
I want to look at it.
Because, I just think it's important for us we keep wondering why racism continues to rear its ugly head. Well, here's a particular reason why.
It's supposed to be used in a derogatory. Yes, but I don't care. I don't either.
Well, like,
So if you're gonna get pissed off at the Alti for me saying
let me
nigger,
say this. I don't really say it to people like straight up, like you're a N-word.
I usually say it to like joke around, but like we still say it. Who cares what the fuck happened to you somewhat years ago? It's not like you experienced it. I mean, I wish you could go experience it, but I mean, I do too. Like, wouldn't it be fun to go pick some cotton? But on the other hand, you black people are mad at us for something that happened how many years ago?
I didn't do it.
Like, we didn't do it. So stop getting pissed off at us for using the word.
Robert, your thoughts?
I love when you do that. You know that, right? I love when you do that. That's the thing I will say. This is the thing I will say. I have kids, man. I give kids a pass, right? I give kids a pass for one reason. They haven't fully matured yet. And sometimes, man, I do not want to be held. Man, if you held me responsible for every dumb thing I said as a teenager, my God. I remember, I'll tell you one thing I did that I thought I was being, I often think about it every day. We were going to church at Thomas Memorial on, 13th and Brown? And Miss Randolph came to the church and she got there late. And it was the stupidest thing I ever done. I regret it still to this day. She walked up and someone said, Miss Randolph, why are you late? And she said, I lost my mother. And I am just so stupid. I said, I hope you find her. Right? I knew exactly what she was saying, but you do stupid things as a young kid. I'm really glad Miss Randolph never held that against me. Because that was stupid, yeah. That was stupid on so many levels, right? But I mean, young kids say stupid stuff all the time. Okay, it's the sixth time. But no, seriously, young kids say stupid stuff all the time.
Yeah, but that particular thing with those young women, that was more than stupid. That was planned. That's pretty clear.
How so?
Well, they had a paper in their hand, number one, that one of them was reading from. And
they wanted to make sure they said it right.
Exactly.
Got in all their points.
Exactly. So it was planned. And number two, the fact of their ignorance proves that they don't get it. And their parents are teaching them that. At some point, see, just like you were trying to excuse the police officer from rubbing the little white girl's hair. Now you're trying to excuse that post-traumatic slave syndrome is affecting you right now. Because there you were trying to make excuses for racism.
I'm not making excuses.
Yes, you were, Robert.
This is the thing for me. My boys have said things. I look at them and go, "That's just stupid as hell," right? But again, they're young men. Young people say stupid stuff. Sometimes old people say stupid stuff, right? But yeah, I'm more willing to give a pass to a young person. And by young, I mean someone under the age of 16, 17. I'm willing to give them a pass. I'm willing to.
By the time you turn 16, you know right from wrong.
You do know right from wrong, but you still say stupid stuff.
Tasha O'Neal says the problem with giving these girls a pass is that they grow up. Exactly.
Yeah, if they grow up and they haven't learned from this mistake, then yeah, that's problematic. But hopefully they learn from this. Hopefully.
Remember what Miss Johnson said prior to the top of the hour when she said she was happy to see that a white woman is getting.
She didn't say white. She said non-melanin.
She was happy that a white woman was
She said
being
non-melanin.
punished.
She never said
I'm
white.
paraphrasing.
Yeah,
Okay.
Don't be misquoting, I guess.
I'm paraphrasing.
Callers. That's why they don't call in, Dave.
Okay, I'm paraphrasing.
Misquoting.
The point that she was making, and we've talked about this on the show.
That's why they be
Did you
texting
know
us.
40% of slave owners were white women?
And that's surprising. That would be
No, I'm just saying people don't know that. Okay? 40% of slave owners were white women. And history tells us that white women during slavery were more vicious to slaves, particularly slave women, than the master was, the white male master. Okay? So her point being is that, yeah, and let's not forget, 53% of white women voted for Donald Trump. They've been basically skating because of their femininity, as opposed to the finger being pointed at them in which they richly deserve, because they are part of the racist problem as a whole. Look, if I tell when I talk to women about young girls, about boys, and I ask them what type of guys you want. Well, do you want a thug? Do you want someone who's gonna make some money? Da 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 da. And the whole point of the conversation is I say, if you set the bar, men will jump to that bar because they chase you. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if white women would set the bar for their men and say, hey, look, I'm not going to have any slavery. No racism in my house. I'm not going to deal with any anti-Semitism in my house. And if it is, you're not going to be my man. How quickly would that change? But what we're finding from white women is that they are subconsciously supporting the white supremacist society. And they get escaped because people think, oh, well, they're just women. Ain't that right, Joan Adcock?
Stop. I had a white friend who...
You think she listening?
Who was, yeah, always.
Joan?
Yeah, I have a white
You think
friend,
that applies to her?
Without a doubt.
Okay.
I have a white friend who was robbed at gunpoint by a black man.
Mm-hmm.
And he was open enough to admit to me that, yeah, for a long time, he had biases toward black folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I could get that. I could see that, right?
Black people are robbed every day by white men and the white society. So should we have biases?
We should.
Yes,
yeah,
we should.
We should.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you weren't taking up for your little white friend.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Right. My point was that most of these things that we currently encounter with white people, I think most of them. I think Obama was a great example, right? You had black folks saying, that's my president. He ain't your president. He's my president, right? And now you got white folks saying, guess what? Trump is my president. He ain't your president. And we get a little upset about it. You gotta. If you're gonna give it, you gotta take it. That's all I'm saying, D. Coleman. That's all I'm saying, player.
Did I just hear you defend Trump on this show?
How was it defending Trump?
I'm trying to get a clarification.
I made a comparison that
Okay.
included Obama and
that is not a valid comparison.
How not, David Coleman?
Because the reason black people were saying that was because that was the first black president in the history.
No, he was not.
No,
he was not.
No,
he was not.
I know what you're saying.
No, he was not.
Before there was one in the Continental Congress.
I'm not. No. I'm not even letting you do that.
In fact,
player.
there were 3 of them.
I'm not even letting you do that, player.
Okay. But I
have to correct you right here, Dave.
Okay, go ahead.
I have to correct you. Bill Clinton was the first black president. Tom Joyner said it.
Wait a minute.
Maya Angelou said it.
No, I don't give a damn what they said.
Toni
Will you
Morrison
stop
said
it? Stop
and
it.
The Black Hall of Fame.
No,
Black Hall of Fame.
no. Oh God, why'd you have to bring him up?
I'm just saying, that's the first black president, man. If you gonna put facts out, be right. Obama was the second black president.
Okay, but that was the one that.
Get it correct.
I'm sorry.
Who was the first black president?
I'm sorry.
Get it right, man. Who's the first black president?
You know what?
Are you gonna say it or not, Dave?
No.
Bill Clinton was the first black president. That's what
You
everybody
will
said.
never hear that come out of my
Everybody
mouth.
said Bill Clinton was the first black president
You know.
because he played the flute. He played the flute.
The saxophone.
No, he played the flute. He played the flute. He played the flute. He was the first black president.
He was not.
That's what everybody else says. Ain't he in the Black Hall of Fame? Dave Coleman? Is he in the Black Hall of Fame? Yes or no?
I didn't put him there.
Is he in the Black Hall of Fame, Dave Coleman?
Yes, he is.
Okay,
probably.
then. He's your first black president, David. You can go ahead now. What you want to say now? Obama was your second black president. You're free to continue, Dave. Did they not say Bill Clinton was the first black president?
I don't recall.
Okay, let me find it for you.
You know, but no, you don't have to find it.
No, sir.
But anyway, before my point was so rudely interrupted, is they were doing that because that was the first president that those people thought was their black president. There have been plenty of white presidents. Even if you claim Bill Clinton as a black one, there's still plenty of other white ones. So that's why they were saying that. But that still does not excuse the Trumpites about being racist. It just doesn't. You know, so anyway, this has been interesting to say the
Toni
least.
Morrison, she said, Bill Clinton, our first black president. Let me read this to you. A turn of phrase that stirred years of debate and for which she later expressed a measure of regret. But she sure did it. Toni Morrison said Bill Clinton is the first black president.
Well, when the Trump fiasco is finally over, we'll have to grapple with this hard question, okay? Why was the election of a black president with an impeccable character so threatening to America that they felt compelled to elect a white man?
Bernie Sanders calls Bill Clinton the first real black president.
Okay.
I mean, do we have to keep going?
I don't care about
Do we
Bernie
have to keep
Sanders.
going?
Can I finish my
Because
point?
you know, they always say once a white person confirms it, that makes it be so.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Bill Clinton is the first. Oh, let's go to the Urban Dictionary.
Okay.
Let's see what they call Bill Clinton in the Urban Dictionary.
America that felt compelled to elect a white man who we knew was without a moral compass.
Oh, really? That's what you're going to try to call Bill Clinton?
No, I'm talking about Donald Trump. Try to listen to the show, Robert. You're right there in front of me. Okay.
The Urban Dictionary says Bill Clinton, the best damn thing that happened to America since the forced resignation of Republican President Nixon.
You know, and what that says is how ignorant black people are. Sorry. Because if you believe that, the same man that put all your boys in prison.
I gotta read this, man, because this is really
Okay.
interesting. Let me read this real quick. Okay. A man who actually gave a damn about minorities.
Really?
Ruined. Oh, come on, man. I gotta make this big because I can't see. Ruined when Bush ignored minorities. Plus, during Hurricane Katrina, women ruined with and women ruined when Bush ended the idea that only rightful place for women is in the household. Poor, ruined when poverty rate increased during Bush's administration. Civil rights ruined when Bush allowed domestic spying on Americans. Peaceful anti-war meetings, etc., without approval of court. Economy ruined when Bush took office. Gas ruined when Bush took office, and got worse when Bush let oil companies do whatever the hell they want. And Americans in general ruined when Bush said,
Now, see, that's something against Bush. You're supposed to be talking about Clinton.
You're doing a heck of a job, Brownie. Yeah.
Well,
that's crazy.
He's your first black president. He ain't my damn president.
No, Dave, I'm sorry, Dave.
Okay.
I have to disagree with you, brother.
No.
I told you, Dave, when a black person says it and a white person gives it confirmation, that means that it is so. That's why he is in your history books. That's why he is in your Black History Museum in Arkansas.
How depressing. By the way, just quickly, I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Someone just put up a bill with Crystal Tucker. She's drinking some orange juice, and she says, I bet, and there's a picture of Amber Guyger, and the caption says, I bet you won't walk into the wrong cell.
Jesus.
Let's see. Ranger David Armstrong, who said Amber Guyger did nothing wrong. Yeah, boy, somebody had their hand so far up his butt, they were tickling his tonsils. Just so pathetic, you know. I'm just going through here and looking. I'm just seeing if there's any updates on Amber Guyger real fast.
No updates, man. Nobody
No updates. So I just want to see how much time she gets. That's what's important to me right now. I want to see how much time Amber gets. Okay.
How much time do you think she's gonna get?
I hope she gets 11 years or more. So if she appeals, and yes, she's gonna be able to appeal. But the difference is if she gets 10 or less, she can appeal on the outside. If she gets 11 or more, then she has to appeal while she's in jail. So that's why I'm hoping for 11 or more. By the way, the new
Why is the death penalty on the table for first-degree murder, Dave?
Don't ask me. They didn't ask for it. And by the way, the new 2020 Dodge Barracuda. Ooh.
What is that?
The Cuda. You don't remember the Cudas from back in the day?
I'm not a car guy.
Oh well, they got a brand new Dodge Barracuda, and boy, that thing is slick. I just saw a picture of it, but anyway, I digress.
Really? Okay.
It's nice. It's nice. But as far as the death penalty is concerned, let's see, friend of Amber Guyger, Brenda Sales. They're up there crying for Amber. I'm crying for Amber too, because it's taking too damn long. Oh man.
Peace, man.
All right, man. You have a good day. We'll talk to you later. 855-525-5683 is the number. We're going to go out and take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Balck Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices on JoeNetRadio.com.
James F. Swindoll provides our clients the personal care and attention that larger law firms cannot offer. Our experienced attorneys have brought hundreds of cases to verdict in state and federal court and recovered millions for our clients. If you or a loved one have been injured or have property wrongfully damaged, we may be able to help. Do not hesitate to contact our firm anytime for a free attorney consultation. Call 1-800-848-1290. That's 1-800-848-1290. Or email inquiries at arkansas-personal-injury.com. Our law offices are centrally located at 212 Center Street in Little Rock. That's the law offices of James F. Swindoll, personal injury and products liability attorney serving Arkansas since 1977.
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes all of Arkadelphia and Arkansas to connect with a family-owned and operated service provider in Clark County since 1966. At Mitchell Funeral Home, they understand that the funeral is a celebration of a life and legacy, so the entire staff takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional services they provide. Cremations, funeral planning, burial policy, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are just a few of the services they offer. Flexible packages are available as well. Mitchell Funeral Home appreciates the trust and confidence placed in them and will continue to enhance their services so as to serve you better. Call now. Get connected. 870.
No, that's not correct, Tanya.
2611. That's 870-246-2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we're needed. Call us now. Let's walk through this today. 870-246-2611. It's quality you can appreciate and service you can depend on at Mitchell Funeral Home.
Hi, this is Alvin from Habibi's 4317 East Broadway in North Little Rock. We still have the green top at your very next stop. The same great service for more honor. Give us a call, 501-663-1553 or 664-2992, or call our toll-free number, 1-877-HABIBI-1. Diapers, pull-ups, hospital beds, wheelchairs, Simply Fit, diabetic supplies, underpads, and more. Your durable medical supply center.
LeBron James is the greatest player we've seen this generation. You have to be careful when you start saying,
And so he wasn't as good as Mike. Well, he wasn't as good as Magic.
No, that's not what they said, Tanya.
You begin to sound like that old man.
I'll explain when I come back here in a moment.
You walk on his yard, and you even walk by his yard. He's on the porch, and he's got that little purple finger. He's like, "Get off my lawn! Get off my lawn!"
Join the weekly sports magazine every Saturday, 8 to 10 a.m. on JoynetRadio.com.
Get off my lawn!
All right, welcome back to the show. We got a few minutes to go in the show. Robert had to make like water and flow a little earlier today, so I'll be in the chair for the rest of the show. If you want to call me up, give me a call. It's Balck Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. Let me tell you why, and we're going to take a live look in on the trial here in just a moment. But let me tell you why I keep saying 10 years or more is important. Now, according to when I watched the analysis of the trial yesterday, they had a former district attorney that was from Dallas who was doing some analyzing of what had taken place, and they talked about the sentencing. And the sentencing was key, meaning that it was important that if she got 10 years or less, she would then be able to be out as the appeals process is going on. Okay? If she got 11 years, 10 years, well, more than 10 years, she could still appeal, but the appeals process would take place while she's in jail. Okay? That's why it's important to understand or watch how much time she gets. If she gets 5 years, then she can walk around for the next year free, because the appeals process could take that long. Her attorney certainly could draw it out. Okay? But if she got, let's say, 10 years and 1 day, she would have to stay in jail during that appeals process. Now, I'm not an attorney in Dallas, but I went to Dallas a couple of years ago to see Prince, Time Band and Band of the Six on New Year's Eve. The second part is true. That was more than a few years ago, by the way. So that's the difference in the two items, okay? So let's see if, looks like the judge is leaving. Let's see if we can get an idea of what's going on here. Because we want to, I want to keep you updated on this real fast. But they're in the punishment phase, still trying to determine how much time Amber Guyger is going to get. If we saw the same thing, he didn't say anything about the law had been changed. But hey, look, I told you I played an attorney in Dallas 20 years ago. I'm not an attorney in Dallas anymore. All right. But either way, she needs to get more than 5 years. She needs to get like 20 years. In fact, I'd like for him to give her life in prison. Let's see their standing. Let's see if we got a verdict here. I'm hoping we get a verdict before the show is over. So we're trying to do a live look in on the Amber Guyger sentencing phase of the trial. She has been found guilty of murder. They've been having friends and family for Guyger on the stand, talking about how much of a good woman she is. She ain't a good woman. I'm sorry. And I really appreciate the call from Ms. Johnson in the show earlier, who talked about how important it is to see a white woman get her just due when it comes to some of the dirt that she's done, because they do skate. We know this criminal justice system. I'm not saying anything that is uncommon. So we'll see what happens. Tanya thinks that she's going to get 20 to 40 years. I'd be shocked if she got that much. It would be great. She certainly deserves it, because And I'm glad that the jury didn't buy any of her mess, her defense attorney's mess, the castle doctrine. She has a right to defend herself in somebody else's apartment when she's broken into that apartment. That is the most dumbest stuff I've ever heard in my life. But again, an intellectual explanation in killing black people. All right, here we go. We're listening to Judge Tammy Kemp. Tammy Kemp is the presiding judge who is currently giving the jury instructions before they go back to deliberate her punishment. What the judge is doing right now is reading the different punishments that they can assess to Amber Guyger. She's been found guilty. She faces anywhere from 5 to 99 years. Hopefully, look, they came back pretty quickly as it relates to the guilty verdict. And I don't doubt that they will come back even faster, at least you would think they would, as it relates to what the punishment will be. And hopefully she gets all 99 years. Now, she's not going to get 99 years, but I can hope, can I? Come on. I can hope. It would be nice. And I certainly understand what people are thinking, that it is justification for the other murders. It isn't. And I think Robert makes an excellent point. Those families didn't get this justice. Those families didn't get to hear that Timothy Loman was guilty. Daniel Pantaleon was guilty. Or Officer Starks was guilty. So it's not the same. It doesn't lift the burden of any of these family members whose children, relatives, brothers, sisters, cousins were murdered unjustly by police, and those police in a lot of cases are still patrolling the streets of their cities. That doesn't lift the burden of pain off of them one bit whatsoever. And even if it did, the bottom line is that their loved one is still gone. They're no longer here. So I agree with Robert when you stop saying that this is justification, that this makes up for all the others. No, it doesn't. It doesn't come close. And to use Robert's analogy, it's like a football team. You play 12 games, you win one. You're not even at 500. You didn't even break even. So you win 12, you win one and lose 11 games. What is that? This is where we are in this justice system. It is unjust. It has been unjust for us for quite a long time. And I certainly applaud the efforts of the attorneys and the district attorney to bring this trial to justice. But at the end of the day, this is a victory for the Botham Jean family. It is not a victory for black people and what we have to go through every day. It is not a victory. And even before you say that, we have to pay attention to how much time she's going to get. Because if she doesn't get a lot of time, if she comes out with 5 years, that means she'll serve 2.5 and be out on the streets in 2.5 years. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe 3 years. And then if she's on good behavior, maybe less than that, maybe a year. No, this isn't. This simply isn't. What this is one case in hundreds where they could not make an excuse, where they couldn't come up with an intellectual excuse to kill a black person. Because that's all these others have been, is intellectual excuses. Doesn't mean that it was right. It was just intellectually fashioned to make it sound good, to make it feasible. That's what that means. We got to go. I hope you enjoyed the show. Tomorrow, if I remember correctly, we're going to be talking about the schools with Senator Joyce Elliott. Looking forward to talking to her. Got a couple of questions about this governor. Why'd y'all wait so long? You have a good show. You have a good day as well, Jackie. I hope you feel better. LaTanya, thanks for dropping in. And everybody who called and everyone who listened to the show, really appreciate it. The show is growing. Please tell someone and spread the word. And don't forget, you can now catch it on podcast. Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, any of the podcasts. We are going to be there. And if it's not there, contact them and say, why don't you have Black Focus on your podcast? Y'all have a great day.
You've been listening to Black Focus, where we discuss our issues with our solutions.
See y'all later. Y'all have a great day.
Join us every weekday afternoon at 1 p.m. on joinetradio.com.